Hello friends, how you doing? This your brother and a seven reporting for the borderless Africa. In this episode, we're going to look at the ramifications, spiritual ramifications, and the psychologies behind the horrors of the spillage of the dam, Akufo Dam, that is affecting the other people in Ghana. In this episode, we would like to share, like, and hit the notification bell so that next time we upload, you'll be notified. In life, there are a couple of things that if you're not on top of it, you could be enslaved by other people. Number one is your history, and second is your spiritual standing. Who are you? Who am I? Where do I come from? What am I here for? You see, and other things. But the two major ones is your history and your spiritual standing, who you are. We black people can attest to that. We black people in general can attest to that those two things, when we lacked it, we've been enslaved. And majority of us are still going through that enslavement, because they don't know who they are and they don't know their history on this earth, being the first people couple of millions of years on this earth, and thousands of these hundreds of thousands of years on this earth before other people, other races. A lot of black people do not know this history of themselves, and due to that, they fall victim to other races. They can't stand up to them, and they cannot stop them with facts. You see. So, in this episode, we're going to look at why the so-called Voltaireans, the upper people of Ghana, allow themselves to be victims. We're going to look at it because of their lack of history and their standing spiritually. The land is your spirit, and you are part of the land. If you cannot protect your land that was part and parcel of other nations that form Ghana, then others will enslave you. You brought your land to form Ghana, not the other way around. And you refuse to stand on these facts. Part of your lands have been chipped into Eastern region, Greater Accra region, and you keep quiet. You could not protect your land. You see, and they've been doing it sometimes with your own acceptance, and you just, oh, fine, we're all the same, everything's gonna be all right. We're all Ghanaians, and everything's gonna be all right, and they keep changing the names, Atimpoku, which used to be called Atipokope, you didn't say anything. Akosombo was taken away from you into Eastern region with people who had planned to steal the whole dam from you. The territory that you brought into Ghana was chopped, went under the river. Most of your towns went under the river. You sacrificed your towns, your farmland, your forestry, and then the Eastern region took it away from you. The Eastern region used to be the last end on the eastern border of the Gold Coast. The Eastern region, they have the Western region, they have the Eastern region, which is both extreme of the Gold Coast. So Eastern region was a border region. Border region to who? To you. Okay. Now it's almost like in the center of Ghana. But it's still Eastern. So that is the history to tell them that you were once upon a time the border region of Gold Coast. And this is my land. So why my river and everything have to be, into you now? See, we're going to make some listening to historical facts to ascertain all these things that I just laid down, which my people, the Earth people, refuse to be, to stand on, to be affirmed on. And therefore, if you don't have your history, people will make one for you. We're going to be looking at a chronology of events that led to the formation of Ghana.
Okay. And rather decided to concentrate on his PhD thesis. Then Akufo told these people that man hasn't got any profession that will tie him down when he comes to Ghana. So let's go and bring him. And as for mobilization, he's number one. So they brought in Kwame Nkrumah.
So they must have heard about what he was doing.
His first place, yes, because he was always doing mobilization. Don't forget, he was one of those who were the brains behind the 1945 Manchester All-African People's Congress. Yes.
That one, I do not agree, because Kwame Nkrumah spent all his time in the U.S. and was able to see Marcus Garvey and his Negro People's Association, parading on 125th Street in Harlem. Nkrumah saw all that dynamism and all that great posture of Marcus Garvey and his ability to mobilize over 1 million people across the Black world, and majority of them in the Caribbean and in America at the time. And every Sunday, these people coming from their menial jobs, Monday through Saturday and Sunday, they put on some, their army uniform, and march like soldiers, military men ready to take the world that belongs to Black people that was stolen from them. So Kwame Nkrumah this was like a cultural shock. He never see anything like that. He never saw a Black man, exerting power in this manner in his life before. So that is the thought process he was developing in America. Meanwhile, the JB Dankwas in Ghana, were so limited in how to exert the same power. Okay, so to say Kwame Nkrumah was invited into the first Pan-African conference in Manchester, UK. He wasn't there, and he going over there was the first time he was going to UK, so he couldn't have been the brain behind a conference that was organized in Manchester, UK. He can be. He was known to be a dynamic African in the US, making some waves. So the Pan-African leaders at the time, mostly West Indians and Caribbean, in which George Padmore was part of them, they were the one who invited Kwame Nkrumah over there. So he was not an architect of it. He was not an organizer, part of it. Let's give credit to where the credit is due. The West Indians did not left Africa out. They just happened to identify a one dynamic African in the U.S. making waves, and then they invited him over, and the rest is history. So that I don't think is a good presentation of how the Pan-African first Pan-African conference was held. That Kwame Nkrumah was invited to be there. He was not. Apart from all the beautiful things Nkrumah did, that was the beginning of him seeing UK. Okay, so let's put that one in place. Nkrumah did great, marvelous things. Love him or hate him. Okay, so let's continue.
1945 Manchester All-African People's Congress. Yes, so they knew him, they had heard about him. Yes. And in his student days, Nkrumah loved wearing glasses. So they said the bespectacled Kwame Nkrumah. He was always wearing glasses, but he didn't have any defense. But it was when he was coming that he threw that away. Yeah, and people make the mistake of saying that it was J.B. Dankwa's money that transported Nkrumah to Ghana. Please, J.B. Dankwa was just a practicing lawyer.
Who brought him? Who
The
paid for his passage?
bankroller was definitely George Alfred Grant. He brought Nkrumah, and he stayed in George Alfred Grant's house in Sekondi, Passy Road, a couple of days before they drove him to Salt Pond to commence his work at the headquarters of the UGCC. And when he came, this man discovered that there were 13 branches, very inactive branches. So there was nothing you could call a party, just the name. So he drew up a master plan and presented it to the UGCC leadership.
Again, let's let what that piece of history right there will tell you that there was never been a political party or a rally or rallying of people to a political party. These people have no idea how this thing could be done. They had a party and they had some office in some localities or towns. There was nothing over there. The idea of sensitizing the people was nothing that they saw before. They didn't know how to go about it. Kwame Nkrumah already saw party politics in America, campaigning in America. Marcus Garvey was campaigning for power, dynamics within American politics. So the J.B. Dankwas didn't see anything. The British did not have to do rallies to win power. It was one party state under the Gold Coast, under that wicked queen called Queen Elizabeth. Okay, so the J.B. Dankwas, the former party, but then what? There was never been a time that they voted or staged a rally to sensitize them. They didn't know what to do. They did not know what to do with this offshoot party post, 13 of them. They didn't know what to do with it because there was nothing before it. They're trying to form a party. They're trying to get a power from the British. They didn't know how to campaign. They didn't know what to do. You see, their mind was little about party politics because there was nothing before what they formed. No going of the poll. No going. There was no voting before the 1956 voting or 1957 voting. There has never been anything before it. So they didn't know what to do. You can understand, right? They didn't know what to do. They did not know what to do. But these are the people, they say they are the doyen of the Ghanaian politics. A doyen of what? What kind of language is that? What kind of word is that? The man never even wrote a book. He wanted the Gold Coast to be named Akanland. But he did not write any book to say, this is how I'm going to run the Akanland. No ideology. The man never wrote a book before. But he has a statue that made him standing beside piles of books as if he was some, great author. Kwame Nkrumah was a great author, a prolific writer. And these people, after his overthrow, of which the CIA paid them, or to give away Kwame Nkrumah, they went to the Flagstaff House and burned manuscripts of unpublished. Who will do the unpublished work? Great ideas. When you see Kwame Nkrumah, his idea on nuclear power, how to start it, how to end it, how to create the environment, how to put institutions behind it, the schools, the students, you will see this is a great engineer. When you listen to the man has ideas and he wrote them down. What was the idea of J.B. Danquah that they were trying so hard to lift over Kwame Nkrumah? Never wrote a book, never wrote even how to safeguard his own village in a book. What is his idea? We don't know. Anybody could be a lawyer, but not everybody could be a scientist. You see, most students who cannot make it to especially in Ghana, most students who could not make it to science, who fail science subjects terribly, who aim to become doctors and engineers, end up to become lawyers. Only few lawyers can be medical lawyer. Science, engineering, attorney. Okay, technology, attorney. Only few lawyers, few attorneys, because you have to first understand the realm of engineering before you make its law, before you defend its law. With figures. You have to know something about medicine before you defend its laws. And only few lawyers are able to do both science and art. Law is an art subject. Those who could not find way into the medical field, the science field, settle for law. So this thing that we're doing as if law is some brilliant thing, hell no. Hell no. You see? You got to be very alright. I'm not downplaying it, but the facts are the facts. So this thing, making J.B. Danquah as, some lawyer, we are talking about Johnny Cochran over here, who took the tobacco company industry on and won class action lawsuit, won a double murder case for O.J. Simpson, and defended Michael Jackson against the Hawks, who wanted to eat him alive. Yeah, J.B. Danquah ain't no Johnny Cochran. Okay, let's move on.
To the UGCC leadership, and they told him that they would not be prepared to support that. Do you know why they would not be prepared to support that? Because Nkrumah had earmarked places from Accra to Kulungugu, which included Volta region, Ashanti, North, everywhere. And they said that no, the whole thing we are doing is there.
It's a Gold Coast
asset. It's a Gold Coast.
Limited to the Gold Coast.
And you see, the leadership that we mentioned, if we are to go back, George Alfred Grant was the chairman or president, first vice or first chairman, vice chairman or vice president was R.S. Blay. And then the second was Pa Grant. So the mistake people made by saying that J.B. Danquah founded UGCC is not true. Even within UGCC, he was the third in command, not the first or second. First was Grant, the second R.S. Blay, the third, the man you mentioned, J.B. Danquah. You understand? Then we had Awuno Williams, we had Nanka, Bruce, then we had Kwame Nkrumah, who became General Secretary, Obeche Bilamte, William Oforiatta, then Edward Akufo, Addo.
So this was the UGCC.
So you will see that this UGCC leadership is strictly made up of people from the Gold Coast. And what do you mean by the Gold Coast? In those days, the Gold Coast was made up of Western Province. The Western Province is today Western and Central regions.
Okay.
And now Western region has been broken into two. Then the Eastern Province was, what do you call it, Greater Accra and Eastern region. You understand? So that was the Gold Coast they were comfortable with.
Ashanti wasn't in it.
Ashanti was a protectorate.
Yes.
Transvolta, the same. Northern territories, the same.
So in modern day Ghana, this would be Western, Central, Greater Accra, Eastern. That was the Gold Coast.
That was the Gold Coast. And that was what they had in mind. The other part,
you brought
which
in your
today
land.
Part of Ghana, was not within their thinking or bothering, nothing. That was why they did not bring in Ashanti leaders, because at that time, Victor Usu was a thriving Ashanti lawyer. What do you call Buzia was a famous Ashanti academic. But they were not interested.
Listen.
They were not interested. So let us come to think about people who came to hate Nkrumah, like Araram, Bafo, Akoto, Buzia himself. Where would you have been in terms of politics, but for Kwame Nkrumah, who drew a program embracing the whole nation?
So when they rejected that program, what happened?
When they rejected that program, it's a very good question. When they rejected that program, Nkrumah told them that he so desperately needed every part of the country such that even if you won't pay me, I can go about doing the work without any money.
Pro bono.
Pro bono, I will do that because we need all of them in order that we will form the entity called Ghana. And the reason why Nkrumah will say that is that, you see, the people he was working with had all their training in the UK, which is a very small island.
Small-minded people.
I was not able to chew.
Small island. And it was a world of its own. Kwame Nkrumah had his training in the United States of America, a continent called the country. You understand? So the Ghana or the Gold Coast he came to meet, for him, was less than one state in the US, and you want to call this a country. What are you talking about?
Need the numbers.
Numbers. And then the second thing that also influenced Nkrumah's idea, Nkrumah was a lecturer in African studies, Black history in Europe. And through that, he had learned about this scramble for Africa, which these people would not bother about. He felt that it was a scramble for Africa that partitioned Africa, the Berlin Conference that partitioned Africa. So any good politician should be able to do something that would undo what the Berlin Conference had done. So this man, you think he had a small head, it was just too big for any.
Okay, so just as I've said, being in England influences you to think, limited horizon. In Buddhism, there's a law that deals with inseparability of one and his environment. You see, if you are dirty, you make your environment dirty. And if your environment is clean, it can also make you to be a clean person. You see, Kwame Nkrumah, as I've said earlier, witnessed the bigger than life image of Marcus Garvey and his organizational skills. Meanwhile, the people who had their education under the British in Ghana, had this limited, understanding of themselves. They were ready to be second fiddle to Europeans. Marcus Garvey already flushed that thing down the toilet. You see, flushed it under the toilet. Already had in his own newspapers, industries, bakery, laundry, just name them. And Kwame Nkrumah witnessed all these things. And then the great history of the black race, which the British did not teach these J.B. Danquah folks. So you are looking at a human being with a vast brain, a wisdom of himself, a knowledge of himself, where he stands in the universe. The first human being to walk on this earth. That knowledge is already printed in Kwame Nkrumah's mind. He came here as a youth, so he had all this education as he was growing. He grew into it. These folks, already older folks, had little education about themselves. Saw the colonialist criminals as people that they could trust, ready to be their second fiddle, not ready to fight them. They didn't have the testicle to fight the British. They did not. It scared the hell out of them. They can use law, which the British people made, but they're not ready to fight them. They were not ready to fight. They were not. They win some victories here and there over the British, over some land and some other things here and there, but they were not ready. They didn't see themselves as people who could fight them. They didn't see themselves fighting the queen. And Kwame Nkrumah didn't give a hoot about who the queen was. You see, then again, then you come to these people who say, we don't want other nations to be part of the Gold Coast. The Gold Coast was the Western and the Eastern, and that was the Gold Coast. And Greater Accra. Accra, Eastern is part of Accra until they change it to be Greater Accra. So Western and some part of the South, and then the Eastern. The Eastern is the Eastern border and the Western border. Okay, the Eastern region was a border region. To who? To the Addo'S. The Eastern region, again, the Eastern region is the eastern end frontier of the Gold Coast. The Western region was the western end of the Gold Coast. The Western region was a frontier, was a frontier region. Just as the Eastern region was a frontier, the last land the Gold Coast had. The Transvolta or the Togoland was intact as a nation of its own. You see, was a nation of its own, with its own intellectuals. And these are the people that the J.B. Danquah crowd was not allowing to come and mingle with them because they would take the shine from them. You see, they would take the shine from them. So when they didn't win and Kwame Nkrumah have to put all these nations together to form Ghana, these people already came in very patriotic. They came with a song for the nation. By Ephraim. Beho came with another patriotic national anthem. Okay. In 1957, a woman participated in the first beauty pageant of Ghana won. Do you know what that means in the household of J.B. Danquah? So look at these people. We say they should not come and add to us to form a nation. Now they came, look at all they are doing. These people didn't come with their face down. They came with their shoulder high. Then they have another guy amongst them is the first Minister for Finance. He say, we told you these people should not come over here. Listen to the president himself when he mentioned all these people in the early formation of the nation. Listen to him.
This is the part of Ghana that has produced arguably the nation's two greatest composers. Ephraim Amu, composer of that great anthem, Nia Dinigba Lolo Lola. Yes, Asimi, who taught us to take pride in our culture. And Philip Beho, composer of Ghana's vibrant and much-loved national anthem. Daniel Chapman Naho, one of Ghana's most eminent administrators, who at independence helped ensure seamless transition when the British left. The Reverend Ameto Wabla, that powerful orator who proved you could be both a priest and a politician. And Esther Oklu, Ne Nkulenu, trailblazer and industrialist extraordinaire, whose entrepreneurial spirit lives on. This is the part of Ghana that also gave us Komla Agbili Bedema, Ghana's first Minister for Finance and one of the founding fathers of our nation, and the charismatic Jerry John Rawlings, first president of the Fourth Republic.
So just a reference. So look at, this is 1956, 1956, all these things are happening. Chapman was mentioned as the administrator, taking it from the British people. Where was J.B. Danquah at the time? The doyen of Ghanaian politics. I'm not saying he wasn't a brilliant guy. I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying there were no brilliant people in the Gold Coast. I'm not saying that. But for a people who were not part of the Gold Coast, who were not part, their territory was just, annexed to the Gold Coast to form Ghana. And in this early year already, against so much opposition, okay, from the people who thought the Gold Coast is theirs, that they're going to christen it Akanland, against so much opposition. Now these people came, and Chapman became the one that took it from the British, and not J.B. Dankwa. Just think of the topic in 1956 in J.B. Dankwa household. The topic, the vile, the enviness, the jealousy, the ahonya, the bad spirit towards these people just came in. They were annexed in 1956. In 1950s, Chapman was chosen. So these people were already educated from the Germans and then to the British. My grandfather used to speak German, okay? And he's from Anyako, okay? The British were not in this land because you cannot find any Anglican church in Eberland up to today. No Methodist church in Eberland, if maybe to tomorrow, I don't know. But up to yesterday, there were no Anglican church. I don't know about today. There were no Methodist church. Okay, talk less of 1956, 7, 8 to 1960s. The British did not build any missionary works over there. So they were not there. These are the facts. Elders themselves don't want to discuss it. So if you don't if you don't protect your territory that you brought into this marriage, other people will speak it out for you, will twist it out for you, and then enslave you with the false narratives because you are too quiet over your land. You brought your land against opposition. The very people who opposed you are in power today and telling you that the land is not yours. And your chiefs, your kings cannot speak out. Your queen mothers cannot speak out. What's wrong with you? If you forget about your history and your spiritual standing in this life, on this earth, which is ruled by laws and vibration and frequencies, other people will enslave you. I can't blame Akufo and what he's doing. His father, direct father and uncle, did not want you here. They don't want your land. They're satisfied with their Akan land, which is Western Accra and Eastern region. At the time, then Ashanti region came and they formed a gang around you. You came in, you could speak German, you could speak French, you could speak English already. You were not colonized by the Germans. You were not. The Germans came to ask you to trade with you. You were not colonized. That's why the Germans do not have any colony in the New World in terms of enslaving you. The Germans did not enslave you. Their brothers, the Dutchmen, the Danes, you beat all of them. You beat the Danes. You beat all of them in war. None of your queens and kings were taken away as war captives. Sorry for what they did to other people. We share the pain of other people whose kings were captured, brutalized. Whatever they did to them in Seychelles, we feel that pain. It's not a joke. We feel that pain. But you deflated all these people, fought them furiously. The Germans did not enslave you. They came to trade with you. They're not good in the beginning, but they did not capture you. They came to trade with you. So you are not colonized as the Gold Coast was. You were the first people to be trained as tradesmen. The British were not training nobody as a tradesman. The Germans trained you as tradesmen. So you became a nation builder long before the Gold Coast. So you came, you know how to build a nation. So you came, you want to cement this thing together with your patriotic songs. You came with brilliant musicians who understood music. Okay? The white man's music, the piano, know how to write it. And you came with your own musical talent. Nobody can drum that like you drum. Nobody can beat a drum like you beat a drum. Nobody can build a drum which is a sound of fixes. Okay? Your building of drum is fixes. Your understanding of so many tonation, how to build a drum, how to tune it, it's a subject of fixes. You may not, people may not call it fixes to you, but you already have it in you. You have fixes in you. You have mathematics in you. You see, you have mathematics in you. You know, when the Germans ask you how you call your territory, you told them you are Togo, became your name. Nobody named you like Sierra Leone. Nobody named you like Cameroon, which is shrimp in Portuguese. Nobody named you like Niger area, which is Nigeria. Nobody named you. Yet your territory has been named Slave Coast from the Volta River right up to Nigeria, where a lot of people were being captured. The Portuguese sometimes call it the Kingdom of Judah, whatever it is. Whether Judah, Slave Coast. But when the Germans came, your name had, because we're all the time a riverine people. Your other name is Amuao. You call the Great Volta River Amugan. So you are Amuao. You are all the time around river. From all the time from the Pacific through Canaan, through the desert, through Songhai, Mali, through Nigeria, present-day Nigeria, through Dahomey and to here. You all the time are around river. So you have Tongu, which is along the river, which Ablakwa is. He lost his history until recently that they tell him to relocate and he found his history. Tongu, we say Tongu. Tonguo, the people around the river. Then you have Togo, the people, the Togo people along the river. And your overall name is Amuao. So we call big rivers Amugan. Any river, we call it Amuao because you are. So when somebody spills water on you, well, you have been around water all your life. But your lack of history should not allow somebody to displace you intentionally with water from your own dam. You know, a territory that you contributed your towns and forestry to make. But you allow people to take that Akosombo into Eastern region. Take part of your land into Greater Accra region. And you sit down and you are not making any noise. You are not protecting your land because you lack the history. You lack your spiritual standing. People will enslave you. Now, the very people, let me tell you this and then I'll end it. The very people that say they don't want you, they don't want your contribution, the contribution that you have put into play. They say NC, right? No contribution, no chop. Now, they say they don't want you, but they are eating from your contribution. And you sit down and watching them. You see, they are eating from your contribution. If they don't want you, they should shrink back to their western, eastern, Accra, and the eastern region. Eastern region is a border region. Bordering to who? Bordering to who? We have to be fair here. You can't have eastern region in the middle of Ghana. It used to be a border. You have the west end and the east end. Because if in reality we want to talk about eastern region, then the so-called Volta region is supposed to be the eastern region. You see, it makes sense to you? But we have the eastern region where it is, because the eastern region used to be a border region to the Gold Coast. So if these people say they don't want you, they should bring their border to eastern region and leave you alone. It's fair, right? But now you contributed into it and they touch your hands at your back, and now your contribution become a feast for people who say they don't want you. They say they don't want you. They don't want you and they will not want you. They don't want you. We don't want you. So they should take their border back to Eastern region the way it was and leave you alone. Is that fair to ask? Is that a fair game? Can we call that a fair game? Or you could have boggled people and put them in prison because they asked them for a fair game. You see. So now the people who say, we don't want these people, their people are in the power now. And they are now, demonstrating that reject to you. But it's like the person who brought you in was Kwame Nkrumah, who midwifed you into this Ghana. He never mistreated you. Whenever you prove yourself to be good, he gave you the right job. His own security, you were there. Even though the people dislike Kwame Nkrumah, they didn't even vote for him in Qatar. Because the Qatar people they didn't like how he forced them into this Ghana. They didn't vote for him. But he didn't say, hey, his best people that he promoted, the people who could do the job, were one of you. Not only you people, anybody in this new Ghana that proved himself, even some of them are from outside Ghana, anybody who proved himself to Kwame Nkrumah that I can do the job. Anybody that proved himself to be loyal. And he found all those people in other Ghanaians, including the Efe people. You see, his cook was Rollins' mother from Anglo. His top security men were one of you. You see, his people that he believed in that they could do certain job for him at the ministries or any of his industries were among, some of you were among them. He never discriminated. Even though a lot of our people believe that, we shouldn't have been part of it because already people were even rejecting us to be part of New Ghana. Anytime you proved ourselves, we give you the job and give you the promotion. You see, he could be the first person to say, these people, I don't trust them. I brought them here against all opposition, and they didn't like it that much. I have to twist arms and, do all kulululu, with the British to, kind of bring them in by force against their will. But Kwame Nkrumah is not a petty person. He see a bigger Africa. You see, Olympio did not even like the idea in Togo. And that brought some, friction between him and Olympio. But he was looking at a broader picture. He could be petty, like other people say, these people, I don't trust them. But those of you who he trusted, you proved yourself. The history is there. All the people, some of them are retired, some of them are dead now. You see? The people who were with him to Vietnam before they made a coup, some of them are from the very place that they say they shouldn't be part of Ghana. So Kwame Nkrumah was not a petty person. But when he was overthrown by the very people through CIA collusion, where people were bribed, the very people whose parents were bribed to allow the coup, now you become an orphan. Your mother is not there and your father is dead. Oh, we all know the child whose mother is a rival to a woman. But your mother is dead, and now and your father is dead, and you are in the care of your mother's rival. 9 out of 10, we know those rivals will be mean to you. Only few are very, 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 very human, and they will never see no difference between their children and you. The majority, as we all know, maltreat these children. But as God all the time make it, these children become stronger. They become stronger against all the maltreatment and all the heartache. They come on stronger. So your Kwame Nkrumah is there, the person who midwifed you is dead. Your mother is not there. You are in the hands of the wolf. More water is coming your way. More water will be coming your way. But don't be so sad about it. Your God is there. Your Mao is there. He will see you through. But again, you have been following false energy, false gods. You've been following false gods. So tribulation will befall you. A lot of hard luck. Your forefathers who caught this land for you, who brought you this land, were very, very, very strong people. They believe in themselves. But you went away from them. In every song of Agbaja, every song, they talk about Kanao. And I'm going to make my next video is going to talk, I want to make this one, with the spiritual aspect and the psychological aspect, but it's getting too long and I can't add a spiritual aspect. So the spiritual aspect is going to be the part 2. How spiritually you lost it. Because you're not listening to the songs that your forefathers left you behind, that will strengthen you, that you're all the time being warriors. Kanao. The strongest gate in Africa, one of the strongest gates in Africa is Dahomey. And you all the time, with firmness, say that gate should be open, that you are coming through that gate. In a song, you say those songs are bad, but those songs are songs that will make you strong. That is another story to delve in my next episode, the spiritual aspect of why these things are happening to you, because you become weak. You lost your history, you lost your spiritual standing. These two things, when you lost them, people will take you slave. It happened to us as a black race. So those who are not Addo'S can identify what I'm saying. And we all can learn from it. You see, there are good people on the other side. A lot of good people. Their leaders are evil. There are a lot of good people on the other side. And knowing the history, they can empathize with you. Even if you want to be on your own, you're better off being on your own, and they will empathize with you. The good people on the other side, their leaders are evil. Because white people and their demonic satanic cults, which they enshrine them in, they initiated them in, are the one forcing them to do this thing to you. So it's not the people. The people are good people. They are good people on the other side. Their leaders are being pushed by satanic cultists of the European crowd to do this thing to you. So we'll delve into the spiritual aspect of it in my next episode. Folks, see, don't forget that you are Kalao. Every Afan and Agbaja song is A to Z. The mention of Kalao is in the song, but you don't want to listen to them, so you become weak. just enforcing, to reminding you that you are strong, warrior-like people is an affirmation. But you don't want to hear it. So what do you want? You want to be like a feminist Jesus Christ. People will hunt you down. People will hunt you down. You want to be a feminist, feminine Christ that they put on a cross for you. People will hunt you down if you become that weak.